All right, let's start this class. Okay, so we're just gonna do a first rundown of the Whales platform. I've tried many flow softwares, platforms, this and that. For the value and for the price, Whales is the best platform. The amount of tools that it has, you just can't beat it. Now, I'm not knocking down any other platform out there, but you'll see the amount of tools that it provides for the price that you pay for this platform if you ever want to if you choose to purchase a membership. And again, I'm not affiliated with them anymore. I don't get commission for literally you guys signing up. I have none of that anymore. I'm just saying that for what you pay, it's the best platform. So this is the platform, obviously. Whales, it loads. This is the very beginning. They do have a lot of education. So if you don't really know, I don't know, BTO, STO, we're going to cover that. But if you don't know the basic terminology of options and bonds and, stocks and risk, all this, they have all these tools. Okay. So if you have any questions with, however stocks, IV and this and that, well, you can go to the options tab. So let's just get to the nitty gritty, the meat of this class. We'll start with the flow. So I have multiple filters, right? So I have a very basic filter of just like 5,000 in premium minimum and up, okay? And it's fairly basic. Oh shit, give me 1 second. Okay, there is a max number of viewers. Okay, well, anyway, this is recorded, so you guys won't miss anything. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna make an announcement. Sorry guys, my bad. I don't know, Discord is like the most poverty app out there. And Zoom, I'm not gonna do a Zoom of like 70, 80 people and pay $90 for it. Anyway, okay, so I have multiple filters, and this one is just a basic $5,000 minimum premium and up, right? There's multi-legs, which shows the arrows. There's single legs. Guys, please mute yourself if you're not talking. I don't want to hear you guys swallowing your mic or chewing on gum. So it's very simple. Bids are on, asks are on. As a matter of fact, I'll just give me 1 second. I gotta mute some.
I would just server mute the channel.
Yeah. Wait, how do I do that?
So if you right click the channel,
bro, who is doing that, bro? I don't need to do this class. Like, if someone wants to fuck around here, I'll end it right now. I don't care. So if you want to ruin it, you can go ahead. Now I gotta restart this record. Whatever. Fuck. Mute channel. No, that's not. That's good. All right. All right. I'll give it like one more, dude, I'll give it one more warning. If there's one more, one of that type of shit, I'm just gonna...
I would just, if you right click the voice channel, and you hit edit channel, and then you go to permissions. Under advanced permissions, I think if you go everyone, and then hit under voice channel permissions, speak. If you give that an X, I think that will mute everyone by default.
Okay, let me do that, and then okay, all right, okay.
I hope it works.
You're talking still, so I don't think it works. Wait, is this Alex? Oh,
no.
Okay. Mute. Okay. Well, I changed some things, so hopefully you guys can't say a word. Anyway. Okay, let's try that again. All right. This is my basic filter. Okay, this is just like where I can see basically all the orders that are coming in all day. Okay, so calls and puts are on, just regular stocks and no ETF, no indice, and just in ADRs, right? So 5,000 premium, really nothing much is changed here. It's very basic. Sweep, cross, floor, normal, all the same. China on, volatility on, and no dividend, because I don't want to see flow that just has, someone's buying a lot of calls because of a dividend, right? Because it's not good data to me. Volume has to be greater than OI. I think that's very important, right? So open interest updates the next day. Open interest does not update throughout the day, right? So when I post those notable flows, there's a reason why I post the open interest update the next morning, right? Because that's the only time it updates. Okay, it doesn't update during the day. Only volume updates throughout the day. Okay, and once you see volume overtake open interest, that's a good flow to look at, right? We don't want to see, if there's like 6,000 in open interest and 17 volume for the day. Well, what's the point? Only 17 people purchased that contract, and there's 6,000 bag holders in that contract. So you want to see if that open interest carries over the next day, and you want to see more volume than open interest on today, right? So size over OI, this one, no need. Opening trades, no need. Exclude deep in the money. Why? Because let's say Apple right now, I'm gonna make it very basic. Apple's at 200. Okay. I don't care if there's a $10 million order for an Apple 150 call for November of 2025. That doesn't really tell me anything, right? That could just be like a stock, replacement, arbitrage trade, so on and so forth. Okay. I would rather see a $500,000 order that's $7 out the money and a week expiration, because someone is paying $500,000 and expecting Apple to move as close as it can, to 207 with only a week in expiration. So someone is putting a good size that doesn't have that much time, right? So I would rather have a 500,000 order like that than a $10 million order that's $50 in the money, right, with next year's expiration. So every time, there's people out there that would, and I'm not hating or anything, I'm just saying that these guys would put out, someone is buying 30 million NVIDIA 100 calls or 95 calls for November of 2025. It's like, who cares, right? That's not going to tell you much, okay? So you kind of want the out the money onlys, or, doesn't have to be crazy out the money. It can be $5 out, $3. It just depends on the ticker, right? So we have single leg, we have multi-leg. So multi-leg means, they can be a butterfly trade, they can be a credit spread, they can be a debit spread, they can be rolls. So it's not just a single leg only, right? Aggregated trades means that what whales will do. So let's say there's like 10 of the same order. Like for example, this one, there's like 10 of them, right? Or I guess it's only going to be like 5 of them, whatever. It bunches it up and it puts it in together as one, right? So it's not going to show OMC 5 to 6 times. It will, the order will come out as 5 and then it'll bunch it up and it'll be like an aggregated trade. Okay. If that makes any sense. And then sectors, don't touch. I don't discriminate on sectors, industries, exchanges, trade codes, none of that. Right. So now we got the filter for this one. This is a very basic one, 5,000 up. We just talked about it, right? So what am I looking at? Okay. So for the basic one, luckily I have another filter with 75,000 aggregate. So basically what it is, it's $75,000 minimum, right, from this, and I made it this so it's a little cleaner. Okay, so what am I looking at? I'm scrolling through Flow all day, right, and I'm looking through, all the orders, and this pops up. TRUP 45 call for 9/20 expiration, 41. It's at $41 right now. The bid and ask is 205 and 225, and the spot is at 220. Okay, there's 1,200 size, $280,000 in premium, 98% at the ask. But we always want to make sure, right? Just because it says 98%, just because it says bullish, right? We want to make sure if this is actually being bought at the ask. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to click this expiration, and this is going to pop out. Okay, and I don't know why this is actually like this. I don't know why the premium is only showing 15,000. Let's see. Let me see what. Let me refresh this. Okay, so now it's saying there's no trade on TRUP. Okay, so now I am having technical difficulties. Okay, let me see if I can just find. Okay, CNC, right? There we go. Okay, all right, perfect. So CNC, this is a put, 77.5 put. Right now it's at 78.41, or at the time this was purchased, 150 to 170. The spot price 165, 1,400 in size, 238,000 in total premium, 91% at the ask. Right. So this looks good, you know, when you first see it. All right. So now we want to make sure that it's truly at the ask. Right. So what we'll do is click 920. We'll click the expiration. And so on whales, right, the green bar is mainly ask, right? So if you see almost all of it, it's as a green bar, it means at the ask. So if you want to really verify, what we can do is actually click this green bar and it will show all the orders, right? So right now, a lot of these are at the bids, but look, there are very small orders being purchased at 165 at the bid, and this was at the ask of 170. So these are at the bid, right? But very small orders. And we got an order of 238,000 almost at the ask. So I'm leaning at the ask because the IV has gone higher now. Okay. So this is a good trade, right? A CNC 77.5 put for 920 expiration. Okay. So now I'll be like, okay, well, CNC, this looks good. This looks like a good trade. It's at the ask, right? And they filled, if you hover and you click this yellow line, it will show the average fill, the volume, the premium, the daily volume, and daily premium. So what's good about this one is that it was bought basically 5 minutes before market close. So I don't know if you guys see my Twitter or whatever. You can basically consider this as kind of like a sus flow, right? Because someone just paid 400,000 in premium 5 minutes before the market closed, right? On the right side, it shows net premium, okay, for this contract. So when this was bought, the net premium, right, shot up, right? Now, again, we could, like, you know, in some cases, this could mean that they're selling the puts, okay? So just because the net premium is going up doesn't mean that it's 100% buying the puts. So sometimes you could be selling the puts or closing the puts. But in this case, it really looks like it's being bought at the ask, right? So this is actually considered a sus flow. The only thing that's kind of like, yes, it's high premium. Yes, there's good volume. You know, it's still a notable flow, but it's only 1% out the money, right? So it doesn't necessarily need like a big move for this contract to make a lot of money. What example we can use is, I'm sure a lot of you saw, was what's it called? Rocket Lab. Okay, Rocket Lab was probably the most obvious, and I don't know why this is actually. Oh, that's why. Oh, I fixed it. Okay, so Rocket Lab, right? Rocket Lab is it was at $5.84, or closed at $5.84. And I think at the time these contracts were bought, it was at $5.47. Okay, so look at this. Rocket Lab is at $5. They're buying $8 calls. Okay, so if we do the math, right? Let's say, what was that? 547. They're saying that 547 to 8 is a 47% move, okay? Right, you click on this contract, okay, 37% move at the time. Sorry, my math isn't perfect. 37% move, and they're paying $1 million in premium total, right? This is what I call a sus trade. Because if you actually go on the options chain, I don't know on the top of my head what Rocket Lab's expected move is for October, but regardless, when you see contracts getting piled and piled and piled consistently at the ask for a 37% out the money play, over 900,000 premium. Look, they were bought. The first order was 2,400. Okay. And then they just started adding more, 8,600, more. So these are bought literally at 14 cents. When you see that, you're like, I'm not even going to look at the chart. I'm just going to buy it. I mean, it's 14 cents. Someone's paying 120,000 for a 37% out the money contract. That, and I don't know too much about Rocket Lab, but it's not like an Nvidia. It's not like an AMD, you know, those type of stocks. This is, you know, some small cap company. You're like, no, I'm buying it, right? And as you can see, the net premium goes higher and higher and higher. And these went crazy. I'm sure a lot of the ones that are in our group, we hit it for like 160, 70%. 14 cents, it hit a high of 47 cents, right? Now, next, if we're still bullish on this this stock, right? Aside from charts, okay? And we're still holding this specific contract, the 8 calls, okay? Oh, wait, actually, give me 1 second. Oh, yeah, okay, we're still recording. Just want to make sure. We still are holding these 8 calls, and we want to have a better feeling about it. So tomorrow, what we want to see is if this volume, this 38,000 in volume carries over, okay? So, for example, it's not going to show now because it's not going to update. So tomorrow morning at like 5:30 a.m. Eastern time, let's say 37,000 volume carry over, and now that's open interest. That is amazing because that means 37,000 of the contracts held, right? So 37,000 contracts are still in someone's book, okay? So that is incredibly bullish. Now, if we see 5,000 only went through, we're like, oh my God, I don't know if this Rocket Lab has any more juice in it, right? So we might just have to sell it open. Now, again, that's not, you know, it's not a 100% type thing where just because the open interest or the volume doesn't carry over means you have to sell. Because let's say the chart looks really good and you don't know what the thesis behind that whale is, right? But more often than not, when you see the volume not carry over, it's not that good. It's not that good. And what you can also do when tomorrow comes, when the market opens tomorrow, if you click this, it will show Friday, and then it will, like, let's say it's Friday at open. If there's a massive red bar here, that means a lot of them are at the bid. So a lot of contracts are being sold, right? What time is OI update? I believe it's 5 a.m. Eastern time. I think. Yeah, 5 a.m. or 5:30. You can Google it. I'm pretty sure it's 5 a.m. or 5:30. So that's why it's very important to check the open interest, right? The next day. Because especially if you're in it, you're like, well, man, hopefully this whale is holding with me, this and that, whatever, right? So that's very important. Now, before I go on to the next thing, do you guys have any questions so far? Or does this make sense? And then, oh, actually, you know what? If you guys can type in the free chat, because I made this public for you guys, so, or you can actually type it in the voice chat, the live class chat. So far, so good. Very clear explanation. Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, yeah. If you guys. We'll keep going, and then if you guys have any questions on that, but I think it's been pretty straightforward so far. Yeah. Well, it's recorded, so you guys will see the recording in the stream. Do you use directionally as part of your confluence of signals? I think OI is seen for each individual order. It's the total volume of the contract. So if today there's 38,210. Okay, so what it will be, we'll have to see if, I don't know, 80%, 90% go through, right? If there's 37,000 that go through, that is insanely bullish. because that means a lot of people have the trust that it's going to go higher and higher. Or let's say that there's a whale that bought 20,000 of them, and he held through the night, right? If some whale were to dump, say for example, 25K of those 38K, would that make premium drop right away? No, it would take time. I mean, also again, premiums drop because of the underlying IV, theta, all of that, right? So it's not just because someone dumps it. If someone has to move the underlying, right? So obviously, if the underlying goes lower, then yes, of course, the premiums would drop. But no, it's got to be how the underlying moves. So yeah, that's the open interest. Do you use directly as part of your confluence of signals? Yeah. So for me personally, I'm a flow trader. So the way I find stocks is flow, right? This is how I look. This is how I make alerts. If I see something like this pop up my screen and I'm looking at flow all day and I see these orders, it's kind of muscle memory to me, like what looks good, what doesn't look good, and it'll be the same for you guys. And when I see this, I'm like, I gotta take it. Like someone's paying 500,000 for 37% out the money, play that a stock that has been pretty relatively flat. So someone either knows something or this is just like a sus play. It's a low risk, 14 cents. How could you ignore it, right? So all those questions and answers kind of go through your head as you're looking at that flow. And then how do you find that percentage of the move needed? So what do you mean? How did you find that percentage of the move needed? So right here, it shows the out the money percentage. So Rocket Lab, this contract is 37% out the money. Okay. Is that what you're asking? And yeah, I'll update the open interest for you guys tomorrow. Yeah. It shows right here. That's the great thing about Whales. Whales is very clear with the information. Is there a way to determine if it's one whale? No. And I want to say one more thing. That's very important, and you see it a lot. We will never know if this whale is hedging his puts, his calls, whatever. You will never know that, right? So if you see puts for a company, if you see calls for a stock, whatever, do not have the mindset of, this guy could just be hedging his position. I wouldn't play it. No one knows the story behind these trades, right? So just think of it as in, okay, this is the flow, right? I'm going to look at my chart. If it makes sense to me, I'm going to buy it, right? I'm not going to think of, okay, well, maybe this guy is down bad on his calls and he's buying puts to break even, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't have that mindset. Or out the money percentage the same as puts. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like if someone was buying, if Rocket Lab was at 8 right now and someone was buying 900,000 in 5 puts, that's 37% out the money, right? Okay, so these questions is your experience. I'm gonna run through these questions at the end. These are like more like kind of like general questions. I'll type your questions and I'll run through them at the end. Okay, so where are we? Okay, now I know I've repeated this many times, but I am going to explain it to you guys in voice now. BTO versus STO. Okay, so if someone, I'm gonna actually pull up my tweet and show you guys, so you guys can see it as I talk about it. So if you want to go to my Twitter, okay, it's Key on Trades. You can go to the highlights section. There's some tools there. And we're going to find this tweet. All right. If the flow is buying BTO calls, it is bullish. If they are selling calls, right? So at the bid, if the calls are at the bid, it's bearish. If you're buying puts, right, it's bearish. If you're selling puts, so if the puts are at the bid, it's bullish. Okay? So, for example, I'm going to do this and go on a trade that's at the bid. HES 125 puts at the bid. The bid and the ask is at 2 to 230. Someone filled at 213. That is leaning towards the bid side, right? That is mainly at the bid. To confirm, we can click the expiration and it's going to show. It's not going to show because I have to change this actually. Or no, I don't. I don't know why this actually does this sometimes. Okay, well, I can just explain it. Usually there'll be a bar here. I don't know why it's not popping up. But anyway, that's okay. This is at the bid, right? So someone is selling these puts. Their goal is for this stock to not get anywhere near 125 or lower. Because if this stock goes lower from 134 to 130 to 125 to 110, so on and so forth, this premium goes higher and higher and higher and higher, right? So that means in order to close this contract, they have to buy it back, right? But for a much higher premium. So when they're selling these puts, if let's say HES is going to 134, 140, 145, 150, these premiums are getting closer to 0, 0, 0, 0, right? So they'll buy it back for basically nothing, right? And it's the same thing for the calls, right? This is a terrible, I'm not gonna. Nvidia is not a. This one's not a good one to use. I can actually maybe find one. Okay, these meta calls. Okay, same thing for calls, right? They are selling these calls. Now, again, I'm just saying as an example. I don't know exactly because this is a massive order. These guys could just be selling, let's say 500 out of the 1,000 volume. But for some reason the bar is not showing up. But let's just say this was one single order, right? This is the first order. Okay, this isn't someone bought 575 calls this morning and then at 2 p.m. they're selling. Okay, let's just pretend that this is their first order of the day. They're selling these calls. So it's bearish. They don't want Meta to go anywhere near 575 or higher. They wanted to stick by 525 and then below. Okay, so BTO, you're buying calls, bullish. If you're selling calls, bearish. So calls at the bid is bearish, puts at the bid is bullish. And what I love to see is the puts at the bid. That is like one of my favorites to determine how bullish that stock is. If I see stocks that are that the puts are at the bid, that's great because I saw a lot of when before this. What's it called? The semis that came back, there was a lot of put selling, right? Like Nvidia had a lot of put selling at 100, right? So they're like, okay, we're going to sell these puts and we're going to go higher from here. So yeah, BTO versus STO. Does that make sense? I know it is ideal to find flat ask, but do you put any importance to? Yeah. I mean, as you can see, like one of my filters here, I have my bids on and I have ask on. I don't have a specific, I don't just look at calls. I don't just look at bids. I look at everything, right? I look at multi-leg trades as well. Okay, so multi-legs are literally, again, as I said, debit spreads, what's it called? Debit spreads, butterflies, all that, right? Okay, so now I'm going to teach you guys. So I told you, I talked about sus flow, right? So RKLB, Rocket Lab, that is a sus flow. I can show you another one. No, that one's actually kind of shitty. Rocket Lab, 100% sus flow. No one's paying $1 million for a 37% out the money trade with 2 months out and expiration for a stock that barely moves. That is literally the definition of sus flow. Yes, the stream is full, but it is recorded. You will see everything during the recording. I don't know. It's Discord's fault. Blame Discord. Write them an email. Like, do what you need to do. It's not my control. But yeah, it's all recorded. It's all recorded. Okay. Here's another thing that we need to talk about. Good flow versus bad flow. So I get a lot of questions during the day. hey, is there NVIDIA flow? Is there Apple flow? Is there Tesla flow? Is there SPY flow? Well, of course. There's orders left and right every minute, every second, every hour, every day of these big cap stocks. Okay. So my job, right? There's no point in me of typing NVIDIA, right? And screenshotting these orders. This is not going to help you, right? This is literally not going to help you. There is so much trash in here that if I screenshot this, you're like, okay, there's bids here, there's a puts here, there's ask here. Your brain is going to hurt, right? So you always want to look at, like what I look at, like say for NVIDIA, for example, is if NVIDIA is at 122 right now, if someone bought a 135 call for next week, right? And let's say earnings is not coming up. Someone bought NVIDIA 135 calls at the ask, a sweep, literally one order, one big order, okay? Just a sweep of NVIDIA 135s for next week for like 900,000 to 1.5 million. That is something that's notable, right? Or if someone is selling, okay, I don't want to confuse you guys. Maybe if someone's buying a 110 put, right, for next week for over $1 million in one order, a sweep, then yes, that is notable, okay? But me telling you or showing you a SPY flow or NVIDIA flow just like this isn't going to help you much. It's just going to confuse you, right? So the good flow is, you know, I have what's it called? Filters for that, but they're like sweep orders of like 400,000, 150,000 in one single order with stocks that don't go that crazy either, right? Because the NVIDIAs, the Avgos, all those semiconductor stocks just go crazy on the flow, right? So does that make sense? Like, you know, me posting SPY flow throughout the day is not going to help you because there's $100,000 order of puts. There's $100,000 of calls. There's selling puts. There's selling calls. It's just all over the place. Okay, so I don't want to confuse you guys, and that's why I don't post it unless I really see a trade that I'm like, ooh, okay, this makes sense for NVIDIA. This makes sense for Tesla. Okay, now for ETFs like SPY and QQQ, what I'll do is I love this one, right? I really like this one. So this will be like a 0 to 14 day expiration because listen, I don't really care if someone's paying 600,000 for a SPY. You know, SPY right now is at 553. I don't care if someone's paying 600,000 for a SPY 550 put for November. That doesn't tell me anything. That could just be someone literally be like, okay, I have a lot of, you know, I'm long banks, I'm long tech, I'm long everything. I just want to put 600,000 as a hedge, you know. And again, I don't know if it's a hedge or not. I'm just saying that could just be someone, you know, having insurance for their portfolio. Who knows, right? This is something I like. Okay. Right now it's the 15th. Okay. IWM is at 212 and someone bought a 209 put, one single order of 253,000. Now this premium is not that heavy, but I'm just showing you as an example. If I wish this was like 500, 600,000. If we're looking throughout the day from market open to close, right? No volume, right? There wasn't any volume in this contract. And then once it hit 2 o'clock, 2:10, someone put in 443,000 with 4 days left of expiration. Yeah, it's not that much premium, but I'm just showing you as an example because there actually wasn't that much ETF flow today. So this is just a pretty good example. Someone paid 463,000 at 54 cents a premium. Okay. It's only 1% out the money, but that's a $3 move. I mean, it's 54 cents, almost 500,000 in premium. Okay, this kind of, you know, catches my eye. So if someone said, is there any IWM flow? Be like, oh yeah, actually there is, because throughout the day there was not much volume, right? This one popped up in one single order, and that's why I would post this one. I think I actually posted this on Twitter. So right now, actually, it's kind of flat, so it hasn't really done much. So this is a good flow for ETF flow. What else? I talked about open interest updates. I talked about the IV and making sure if it's at the bid or ask. I can do market tide, unless you know what? Let's go with questions right now. Let's go with questions. I feel like I'm missing something, but I feel like I've also covered. So what's a good eye-catching amount for ETFs? So okay, like this one, it wasn't bad. Obviously this whale got, so this is an example of a whale getting bagged, even though, so at 10:10 a.m. Someone paid over $800,000 for a QQQ 465 put. This whale probably wasn't looking at the trend. It was a trend day basically today. So, but someone was trying to call top. He paid 876,000. But as you can see throughout the day, it looks like this whale's still holding, right? If they got out, it would have shown a massive red bar, right? All at the bid. Okay, so poor guy still holding. Hey, but you don't know. You don't know. This guy could make money, right? So right now he bought the cons at 316 average and they ended at 204, but there's not a lot of bids, right? So there's not one big red bar of, what is that, 2,700. Okay, so looks like as of right now they're still in. I can check the volume, see how much carried over, and we'll see if they're still holding that. Ask me questions. I feel like I'm forgetting some things. Does anything make sense? Everything makes sense to you guys? Am I making sense? I feel like I'm just kind of. So I can show you a roll, what a roll looks like. I'll show you what a roll looks like. So this LUMN, okay, this was bought yesterday. What they were doing was, so they had the 6 calls for 1018, okay? So they sold these calls. They're out, right? And they rolled it because you see the size is 20,000. So 20,000 of these contracts, they rolled it into the 8 calls. Okay. So this is actually, okay. So you see this red bar right here? These are all at the bid, 20,000 in volume. Okay. 20,000 volume at the bid, red bar, they're out and they're rolling it. You see at the same time, 35,000 because look, there's 15,000 of the 8s here and there's 20,000 of the 8s here. Okay, so 35,000 of the volume got rolled into the 8 calls in here, right? So tomorrow I will check the open interest on the 8 calls and see if most of those held. So that's what a roll looks like. In your experience, is it easier to take these type of trades with smaller name stocks? Yeah, it is. It is because again, these stocks, LUMN, are Rocket Lab, even like Hood and Palantir, right? Your broker will say the expected move. You can find it on your broker. You can find it on. There's a website that's actually really good. I've told you. I'll what's it called? I'll try to find it. It was like tools.ai or something. Basically, it will show the expected move by a certain date. But yes, for these type of stocks, when the expected move is less than $2 or $1, and you see someone paying $3 out the money with heavy size, it's much easier to trade, especially because also the premiums are much cheaper, right? So you're risking less, but you can make a good amount, right? Because if it does make that move, then obviously your premiums are flying, right? So I would like I love trading these stocks, right? I'm looking for these type of trades, just something that looks just interesting and I don't have to risk as much. Now again, if I see big orders of Apple weeklies or next week's and they're like $10, $15 out the money, of course I'll play it, but I just like to see these type of trades. For example, of RKW, if the OI updates to nearly the same as the previous day volumes, will the next day's volume go lower? Well, we don't know that. The volume could go higher because people could still be buying that contract. So let's say 38,000, right? So let's say, what was, here we go. Okay, so today, 38,000. Let's say 36,000 go through. Okay, so now volume resets of the day, right? tomorrow there could be 50,000. What if people are just like, I need to buy this contract? There could be much more volume, and that would be crazy. That would be like, oh my god, like this is like an obvious trade, right? And so you'll see that volume update throughout the day. It's the open interest that doesn't update until the next day. Yeah. What is the difference? Flags mean floor. So floor is literally someone executing a trade on the floor, like the stock exchange, but for themselves. A sweep is literally one big order at once. So someone bought 1,500 contracts for $200,000 premium all at once, right? It's not a block trade. When they say block, it's not like 7 orders being added up into one, and then that's the block trade. Okay, so that's what a sweep is. That's what a floor is, and that's what a block is. Do I roll my positions? No, I don't like rolling. I just give me my money. I'm out. I don't care. I don't need to, risk that profit moving into another expert. I don't give a damn. Just give me my money. How do you play IV? Well, now, obviously the higher IV trades, like for example, we had that monkeypox news that came out yesterday in SIGA or something like that. Obviously the IV was going crazy, right? Because it's a news play, right? Everyone is expecting a big move. Here's the thing: when you're paying 250% IV, you're paying an insane amount of premium for no reason. If that stock goes the wrong way on you, the value of that premium will die off because that expected move is not happening anymore, right? So I personally, the only time I play IV, shout out NASA, is the flush, right? Everyone is expecting, right? Expecting a move. Before it actually happens, the IV goes higher and higher and higher. If that stock doesn't hit the expected move, the IV flushes, right? It crashes, okay? So if you catch the right move, the IV goes higher and higher and higher, and your premiums go much higher. And obviously the stock has to go your way too. It doesn't just magically go higher after the IV crush, right? That's how I play IV. I don't play, like for example, a lot of biotech stocks have insane IV. Okay, they have insane IV. So what I'll do, and they're like, let's say $5-6 stocks. If I see an IV of 400,000, or ignore me, 400, I'm not buying options. I'm not paying $400 a contract just for the stock to move $1. Like, there's no way. I'll just buy the stock instead, right? I'd rather just pay for the stock. Don't have to worry about the Greeks, all that stuff. Just buy the stock. So the only time I play IV is the flush. Make sense? Am I making sense? Or am I just yapping and yapping and yapping? For ETFs, do you ever play late 0DTs? I personally don't. I mean, I only play 0DTs if our boy Kess alerts it in the chat. But other than that, no, I am literally known to trade flow. I only stick to what I'm good at, right? I'm not saying I'm a bad 0TE trader. I'm just saying I'm comfortable trading flow, right? So if I'm not comfortable trading 0DTEs like SPX, SPY, whatever, I'm good. Unless I see like a crazy, $1 million, SPY call that costs 10, 11 cents. Like there was one yesterday, it cost 11 cents. It hit like 58 cents. So that's the only time I'll play. How far out do you usually trade, and how deep in the money, out the money you're comfortable with in general? It just depends. I don't really care about deep, like deep in the money. I don't even bother looking at, like, okay, here's the thing. ARM, for example, ARM has been getting like $10-12 million single orders in like 130s, 120s, consistently for days. Okay, so that catches my eye, right? Someone's paying, I think it's like 100 mil total now in the 120s and 130s. Okay, but ARM is kind of just like, the contracts are very expensive. So I have the capital, I just buy the stock, right? Because if someone's putting this amount of money I'm just gonna buy the stock. I don't want to deal with the theta, the IV, all this stuff, right? Like, listen, as harsh as this sounds, options are designed for you to lose money. That's literally what options are designed for. Okay. Now, again, I'm not saying you can't be successful trading options, but that is what it is. They're designed for you to lose money because of this, all these things, right? So what people will do is that they'll buy these deep in the money plays, right? Because once they're deep in the money, they don't have to worry about, the deltas, right? The thetas. The thetas don't hurt as much. Okay, but you're just you're paying $5,000 for one contract, right? Now you can pay that for 2 years out, 2 years expiration, rather than buying 100 shares of ARM, right? You can pay $5K instead. But again, when you have shares, there's no such thing as expiration, right? When you're in options, well, time is not on your side, right? So yeah, what's the decision between choosing ETF or single stock flow plays? Just flow on SPX. So okay, if we're talking ETFs, the best tool I can tell you is Market Tide. Okay, Market Tide for me is the best quote unquote flow for ETFs. Now I do have an ETF lotto, specific filter just for like these like quick lotto type trades. But if I want to know the overall sentiment of the market, and Snorlax actually does he explains it very well on his Twitter about this, and he'll update everyone. The Market Tide, right? This is a tool that shows the net call premium, the volume, the net put premium, and the price of SPY. Okay, so as you can see, the Market Tide, and so this is 0. Okay, so this is volume. This is the volume, right? As you can see, the net call premium has been increasing all day and holding steady, right? So again, this is not like, 100% win rate tool. Nothing is, okay? Nothing's 100% win rate tool, but it gives you an idea that the net call premium is much higher than the net put premium. Now, if we saw a spike in puts, right? If this red line crossed higher and this green line went lower, then you're like, maybe it's time for me to get out of my weekly calls, right? Or whatever, vice versa. Okay. So, you can kind of see it again, like here, net call premium is going higher and higher, but you see how it drops a bit, and the net premium for the puts they're not going that much higher either. So it's not like a wonder tool, right? It's not like a 100% win rate tool, but you get the idea of, okay, it's pretty steady, right? We're not going to really fight the trend unless I see something, super crazy. So as far as ETF flow, this is probably your best tool to use to have a general idea of what the market is doing and what it could do. What do you look at to determine to hold or sell once you're in option? Okay, my rule is, I know a lot of you know that are in my Discord. I'm not trying to sell, I'm just saying, like, see profits, take profits. Listen, the market will do what it wants to do, and it doesn't give a damn about your feelings, none of that. Your luck, your skill, it doesn't matter. Okay, so if I see profits, I'm taking it. Now, if you have multiple contracts, well, sell some of your contracts, leave runners, but manage those runners. Don't let them all go to 0, and the next thing you know, you're net negative, right? Another thing, if I'm in a flow trade, right, and I'm really managing that flow trade, I'm gonna look at the update and see, okay, did the open interest carry over throughout the day? Did the whale get out, right? Like, did the whale buy $500,000? It's doing well. 2 hours later, still holding. 30 minutes after that, oh my God, I see 500,000 at the bid. All right, well, if he's out, fuck, I'm out too. Why not, right? But for me is see profits, take profits. You will never go broke taking profits. Yes, it's frustrating that you see, oh, I could have made this, I could have made that. Okay, well, there's another guy on the other side of the trade that's literally losing on that same trade that you just sold. Okay, someone bought that premium for much higher, and that guy's getting screwed. Okay, so remember, when you make money, someone's losing money on the other side, right? So always think of it like that. Okay, does it make sense? Next thing, and oh, by the way, warning: tomorrow is OPEX Friday. You want to blow your account? You want to, be a zero hero guy? Feel free. Tomorrow is the best day to blow your account. So if you guys want to do it today or tomorrow. Sorry, I'm just warning you. Don't send me DMs. Hey man, I should listen. I blew my account. I was playing 0DT SPX. I just looked at Market Tide. I can't do this anymore. What else you got? I got like 8 minutes. Unless everyone's a pro flow trader now. But I appreciate all the questions. I appreciate you guys all sticking for the time being. I think it's been 50 minutes. This is a good class. Should we talk about Dub? Should I talk about Dub Capital? Negative net premium is sells for the most part. Yes. Now they could be selling puts, but 90% of the time, yes, they are being sold. Is bearish, right? So if you see a spike, you're thinking, okay, yeah, I should get out, or vice versa. If it spikes lower, then you're like, oh my God, the bull run is still happening. Yeah, I mean, if you guys are interested, I can talk about Dub for like 5 minutes if you guys want to know the company I'm partnered up with. I don't care. Correct. Yes, TF. Yes. It is way more bullish than bearish. Yeah. Okay. So I'll quickly talk about it. I get a lot of questions on it. I'm so lazy to type it. So Dub is the first SEC FINRA regulated copy trading platform. Okay. So what it is that their goal is to basically create traders like Citadel, right? But they'll literally attack the retail traders. All right. So a creator like myself, okay, that has a background in trading, I will create a basket of stocks. Okay. So my basket is called unusual. It's based on flow. So any flow that looks unusual, I am buying that stock or I'm selling that stock. Okay. So that basket is like an ETF like QQQ or SPY. So I will rebalance, whatever, right? Whatever I do on this app, it will automatically do it on yours. Okay. All you have to do is invest in a specific basket. You can buy the Nancy Pelosi basket, right? You can buy the Trump basket. You can buy Kamala basket, whatever. Right now, these baskets are managed by a very legit quant trader, and he's legit. He actually researches and puts it all together. It's not like just some scam thing. But again, I remind you that no matter what politician you follow, those trades are delayed, right? Those are filed like 3 or 4 months before they go public, right? So that's the only downside. Now for me, let's say you're copying me, the unusual basket. So let's say I sell 8% of Apple and I buy 8% of, I don't know, what's it called? PayPal. Once that order goes through, it automatically changes on yours. You don't have to do a thing. You'll get a notification on your phone. Congratulations, your unusual basket has been rebalanced. If I make 5% to that day, you make 5%. If I'm down 2%, you're down 2%. So whatever it does, it happens on yours. I don't get anything out of it. So I'm like, whatever money the copying capital goes into this basket, I don't make a cent out of it. My goal is for to kind of challenge myself and challenge my skills and kind of prove to Twitter, to whoever, that I'm actually buying these shares, and it's only shares. It's not options, right? This is more towards a long-term investing platform, right? So rather than paying a fee to a financial advisor, if you really have the trust of a creator, right? You pay $10 a month, which is very cheap, right? For a copy, for as many copies, okay? All you do, you sit back, you invest in whatever basket that you like and whatever fits your strategy, and let that creator do its job. And you can create your own basket. You can create your own basket. And if you have over 1,000 in that basket, you can make it public and anyone can copy it, right? So that will make you even more legit, right? And if anyone is interested in like creating their own basket and having a decent size in it, DM me, let me know. There are opportunities, like serious opportunities. I'm not just saying this. Like if you guys, they're looking for legitimate creators and traders, let me know. If you want to, trade based on your own strategy. So basically that's what it is. And in short, it's a very cool, and again, they're backed by Airbnb, CEO. Yes. Yeah. Tax, all of those show up. Every single day you get an email of your transactions, every single day. It's just like a normal broker, right? It's a broker. Dub is a broker. They basically want to build a citadel for retail, right? You literally can be your own fund manager, right? So I don't want to brag, but like since November, I think Unusual is up like 55%. And I think today alone it's up 13%. So all I do is literally, I'm looking at flow, right? I'm proving to others that my flow works, right? My flow works. Whatever the flow shows, I'm buying or I'm selling or I'm moving it around. And you just sit back and you're like, oh, nice, I'm up 2% today. And you can take out your money whenever you want, right? So they're founded by Uber, or their investors are from Uber, Airbnb, Robinhood. Again, they're the only ones that are regulated to offer copy trading from the SEC and FINRA. Okay, so that's a huge thing compared to the other Copilot, all the other trash. They're not regulated. But anyway, yeah, if you guys are interested, how long on average are you holding commons on double portfolio? So again, that is based on the market as a whole, the market conditions. If I see, so let's say I saw 500,000 in Apple calls, or not, that's a terrible example, like 500,000 in like a hood call, right? Out the money, whatever. Okay, I'll buy it. And then let's say like, a week later, someone's buying like $2 million in puts, I'll probably sell it. So it really depends. There's no specific timing, but this is focused on long term. I'm not day trading this. I'm not like, oh my God, like my stock is down 2%. I need to get out. No. Like I know what I'm investing, right? They're investing in quality stocks. I know over time they're going to go up, but I want to find moves that can, grow a little faster, that can move a little faster than S&P and QQQ, right? How many in basket? You can do as many, but as of right now, you should probably start with no more than 20, right? Right now, I think I have like 12 or 13 total. So it just really depends. It just really depends. And you'll see it. Like if you go on the app on the iOS store, type in unusual or $ unusual, you'll see everything. But yeah, that's that. If you guys have any questions, you can DM me on Twitter as well. I'll answer it. It's a very cool platform. Any last questions on Flow? Sorry, I got carried away. I didn't want to like. When does it come out for Android? Man, I swear to you, if I knew, I would tell all of you guys. There's a lot of SEC stuff that they're working on. That's their main priority. And then once they get the it's always about performance, like the app performance. Everyone wants to have a great user experience. So it's all about the performance. It's obviously about the SEC. They have to get through some things. And then once they get that out of the way, they're working on it. I'm not saying they're not working on it. It's just like that's not on the top of their list, right? They want to have a good user experience, and then they'll go from there. Any last questions or good? 9 o'clock. Yeah, that's good. That's a solid hour. Exactly 1 hour. Okay. Well, everyone, I appreciate you guys sticking through. I hope I helped in any way. Feel free to shout me out on Twitter, whatever. I don't care. You don't have to do. I'm just saying. But yeah, thank you guys. I will have this uploaded on YouTube as soon as possible. Once it's ready to go, I'll post on my Twitter. I'll post on Discord. I'll post it everywhere. But I appreciate all of you guys staying for this time, and you know, I'll have maybe a class next time as well. I don't know, or live flow. We'll see. All right, guys. Thanks again. I will not be trading tomorrow. OPEX. I don't want to blow my account. If you want to blow your account, feel free. I appreciate. You know, I'll watch you do it. I don't care. But have a good weekend. Peace.